Hi guys! Today I'm going to be talking about how to save money to travel. So some of you might be thinking, oh, I'll never get to do this, I'll never get to travel, I'm in debt, I can't afford it, and I'm just going to share with you a few things that me and Alex did before we came on this trip. So if you have seen some of my first videos that I posted about this trip, I will link them below and I will put some cards throughout the video so that you can start from the beginning. But basically, we were getting kicked out of our apartment because our landlord didn't pay his mortgage. So at the time, I was on minimum wage, Alex was on just a bit over the living wage, and he was doing so many hours a week, and we were still like struggling. We were paying our rent, we were paying our bills, and I was in my overdraft. Every single month I was in my overdraft. We were overspending. I could not stop buying clothes because I worked at a fashion company. Like, I had to buy clothes, well, I felt like I had to buy new clothes, etc, etc, but that's a story for another time. Basically, I was in my overdraft every single month. Alex was in his overdraft quite a lot, and we couldn't afford to move into another flat. If you want a complete story of our landlord situation, then let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to do that. It was a very, very stressful and complicated time. I briefly touch on it in my first ever travel video, but I don't think I went into quite as much detail as I could. Anyway, we had just gone away to Oman, where my auntie lives. It was April of this year. It is now November and we're in Australia. April this year, we had no idea what we were going to do, where we were going to live, where we were going to be. We'd been looking for apartments, everything was out of our price range. We were looking at sharing a flat but couldn't find anything suitable. We were just looking at all of our options. We didn't want to move away from Manchester, that was the main thing. We were looking at buying a house, we were looking at all sorts of stuff. We started mortgage proceedings before this, but we didn't have any money. We had no money. I had some money in a savings account that my nana had. Other than that, we had no money whatsoever. We went to Frankie and Benny's the day we came back. And I sat there and I realised I just didn't want to go back to work. I thought I loved it, I thought I enjoyed it, but I just didn't want to go back. I was dreading going back. Maybe it was like the jet lag, because we had been travelling for like 20 hours door to door. We were on 2 planes and I just felt awful. I can't sleep on planes whatsoever. So I was very, very tired. I just didn't want to go back to work. We went to Frankie Benny's, sat down, and I said to Alex, should we just go to Australia? And he said, yeah, why not? So we started. We had 2 weeks before we had to move out of our apartment. We had no idea what to do. We knew we were going to have to move home. So that is the first thing that you can do to start saving money to travel. Move in with friends, move in with family, move back home to your parents, house share. Any of those you can use to save money. So me and Alex were living in an apartment by ourselves, just the two of us before, and then we moved back to our parents. We were in between both our parents' houses, and thankfully, luckily, and thank you so much to both our parents for this, we didn't have to pay any rent, any board. Most of the time we were working, so we didn't really eat food that much at theirs, and if we did, we would sometimes, if we were eating, we would go to Tesco's, get like a meal deal, like for £3 each, and or we'd occasionally go to McDonald's if it was really late at night, because we worked at Nando's and we were doing very, very, very late shifts, and we would not get home until about 3 in the morning because we were working in Sheffield compared to Doncaster, which it's about a 20, 30, 40, depending on which way you go, minute drive. We'll say 30-minute drive. But that did help us save living at our parents' house. We didn't have to pay rent, and we barely spent any money on food. Another reason why we didn't spend any money on food was Nando's. So At Nando's you get a meal every single shift you do. If you're on a longer shift you get more break, you get more food. It's like an allowance. I won't go right into that, but basically we're getting fed every single shift. We're working 5 days a week, 5 days, that's our food. Obviously not everyone can have that from their job, but if you think in terms of like, instead of going out for lunch every day, make your lunch. Like, that's so simple, so easy, and I used to do that when I worked at my old job, and that did save us a lot of money, me taking my lunch to work. Once you get into a routine of doing that, it'll be a lot easier, and you'll wonder why you ever bought lunch at work before, because it saves you so much money. Next thing is to set a goal. It was very easy for us to sit down with 2 weeks to go before we needed to move out, to sit down and set a goal of when we would be in Australia. Our worst nightmare, sorry to our parents, but our worst nightmare was for us to move home. It wasn't an option for us. We never ever wanted to do that. We loved our own space, etc, etc, and it was some of the hardest months for us to live at home with our parents. But without that we wouldn't have been here now. So we sat down, I said, when do you want to be in Australia? We were both like within the year. So I was like, Christmas, should we go for Christmas? We'll fly into Sydney. And at first that was our plan, be there for Christmas. And then it just got too much. We were saving money quicker than we thought, and we didn't want to be in our parents' house anymore. We wanted our own space again. So we upped it to August. I left my job in May, middle of May, and we were here the end of August. So easy. It wasn't easy, but you can make it as hard or as easy as you want it to be, is what I'm saying. I don't have any of this written down, by the way, so I'm just kind of like winging it and saying how I feel. Next thing is sell your stuff. We sold as much as we could in them 2 weeks before we had to leave. So I didn't leave my job until the Friday, and then we had to move out on the Sunday. That was our last day. We had to move out on the Sunday. So I was already Depoping. If you don't know what Depop is, it's like a clothing site, so people sell clothes on there, mainly just clothes. So I was already doing that, so I just upped my game. So the first week we decided we were going, I upped my game on Depop. I uploaded every single thing that I could, took some better photos of the old stuff, and I managed to sell nearly everything on there. I sold a lot. I made £200–300 solely on Depop, probably even more actually. Whatever I got, I was saving it in my account, my savings account. So all my clothes were being sold. I was thinking, right, I want this, I want to take that, I don't want to sell that, that's going to stay at my mum's house, etc. Then next came the clutter. So like vases, paintings, all that sort of stuff. I took pictures of it all, put it on the Facebook selling groups, put it on the Facebook marketplace, and then made an album on my own personal Facebook to share with my friends. So a lot of things that got sold and people bought, the people buying it were my own friends, which I never thought would happen, and thank you so much for everyone that ever bought anything from me. It really helped us get here. We ended up taking 2 vans worth of stuff home to Doncaster with us, which compared to what we had in the first place was very little. I also did a car boot sale with my friend Amy. Hi Amy if you're watching, and I got about £30 or £40 from that, but I got rid of a lot of stuff. I was still selling clothes up until the week before we went, so I made quite a fair bit of selling my clothes. Like I said, I had a lot of clothes, so I had to narrow it down to bring what to bring here. I don't have that many clothes, and it is absolutely oof. If you want to see a video on what clothes I've got, let me know in the comments. The final thing we did was cut any expense that was not beneficial to us in any way. Things we cut out were things like McDonald's too often. We would cut out going out for tea as often. We'd do it maybe once a week. We'd go out for some food, and we used to make sure it was budget. We would cut out drinking. So during the time that we were saving, we went out maybe twice, whereas before, every Friday or at least once a week we would be in the pub. Maybe for 1 drink, maybe for 2 drinks, maybe for 5 drinks. but we completely, or almost completely, cut that out of our spending. I didn't buy any more clothes. The only clothes that I bought before we came were the odd thing from Primark, a pair of black jeans, a pair of trainers, and that was all. Obviously we bought the GoPro, we still bought things that we needed to bring out with us. I bought my backpacks. I also bought a phone because my phone broke. We saved a lot of money. I think I saved just over £3,000. Alex saved just over £3,000. We also had a lot of money in cash from selling things. The last thing we did, we took all of our clothes to a cash for clothes place and we got about £20. That was something in the airport, wasn't it? That was like some food in the airport. But yeah, we took all in all about £6,000 with us to Australia. And then I also had £1,000, just over £1,000 in a bank account that my nana had been saving for me. Thank you, Nana. And Alex transferred just over £600 to his mum for an emergency, say if we needed to get a flight back or whatever. And that was in the space, so we together saved £6,000 in the space of about 3.5 months. How? I don't know how. We probably weren't on, I wasn't on that a month at Nando's. Obviously it's from selling and being responsible. I managed to pay off my overdraft, I managed to buy a phone, I managed to buy a GoPro, we managed to buy flights at £300 each, we managed to pay for our insurance, which was over £100 each, more like £200 each, and we managed to buy all of the things that we needed to bring with us. If we hadn't had to buy all of the things that we needed to buy or wanted to buy, I think we'd have had a lot more than £3 each. So if a GoPro or a new backpack or whatever, you don't need them sort of things, you've already got them, you'll save more than we will. But yeah, that's all I have to say about how to save money to travel. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below and I will answer. So if you liked it, thumbs up, and if you're new, please consider subscribing. And I really hope you like this video and I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye!